All right. Hello and welcome. Thank you all so much for joining us. We have a really interesting and kind of a new direction episode for us today that we're all pretty stoked on. So, we have a couple of things that we're going to be covering today. Most importantly, we have Corey Calather with us of WebFX. He's going to be going over answer engine optimization, which is a pretty interesting concept. We're all used to SEO, search engine optimization. That's what we've all been working on with our digital marketing for the last couple of years. As AI becomes more significant in our space, we are talking about answer engine optimization from a digital marketing standpoint. We look at AI tools like ChatGPT as an answer engine, right? We're not searching for a ton of information. We're looking for a specific answer. So people are using AI in a different way. Corey is coming on today to tell us about that specifically. Before we dive into everything else, we've got Colleen McCormick, who is our budding co-host here at Power Sessions. And we have Mike Goldenstein to hopefully not disrupt us too much this time, but also provide some valuable insight into the space. And he had one thing that he wanted to talk about before we jump everything over to Corey. So, Corey, if you're okay with Mike still in the spotlight for about, I'm going to give you 90 seconds.
Oh
Take it
man.
away, Mike.
All
It
right,
wouldn't be any
Julian.
other way.
Right. So I was leading off with this, guys. We were talking about last night. I was invited to go to a movie with my kids, and it opened during the preview section. There was an advertisement from Google. When is the last time you've ever seen Google actually do an advertisement? And it started with little Ted. Ted was born the year of the first Google search, 1998. And then it goes through his early childhood. And as he started getting onto the computer, doing some searches for toys. And then as in teenagers in high school and his searches and wanting to get a mohawk and looking for cars and different things that he was using Google for. And then it fast forwards to now in 2025, his life has become more complicated. And it shows him taking a picture of his grill and saying, why doesn't this grill work? And how Google has evolved to keep up with him. Listen, this is exactly what we're talking about. And when I pass this off to Corey, we talked a little bit about the significance of that, because again, when have you ever seen Google have to advertise its services? Clearly, they are feeling threatened right now in that their world is being disrupted. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, that's a great point, Mike. And it's not that they're threatened by being supplanted by Bing or by Yahoo or something along those lines, which kind of used to be the idea. But we use the term Google to find information on the internet. They have very clearly and comfortably secured that entire space. They're at risk of being supplanted by something entirely new and different that they don't have a handle on, as clearly as obviously they'd like everybody to assume that they do. So they're trying to make sure of that, which is a very cool concept and very, very prescient to today's topic. So sorry to keep delaying everything. Corey, welcome aboard. Give us a little introduction, man.
Absolutely. So my name's Corey. Been in the marketing space for about 16, 17 years, but also was a contractor for over 20 years in a family-owned business. And, I feel like I have a dual perspective on how to look at things from a contractor's putting on the boots, lacing them up, but also diving in and understand how they want their businesses to be found. But really excited about today. Really appreciate Rufal letting me speak on this topic AI is just kind of taken over in so many different ways. And, Mike and I were talking today. It's like you don't go to search to, as an option to find options. You go there to find the answer. So we're going to dive into that. I'm going to share my screen so we can kind of walk through this, but I don't want to take too long talking about myself. It's all about this today. So,
All right. And I'm sure everybody on this call will kind of chime in with some commentary throughout the process, but viewers also feel free to throw in your questions throughout this entire conversation, and we will hit them at the end with any time that we have left. So throw any prescient questions, anything pressing on your mind, throw it into the chat. We'll touch it at the end when we go into a live Q&A and get Corey to answer some of those questions if we can.
yeah, so real quick, today's roadmap, what I want to discuss is what is changing and how is it impacting the way we reach our ideal audience? And then also, how do we leverage these changes to reach our ideal audience? Then at the end of it, we're going to have an omnio and kind of speak to how to track this, and then some Q&A. And hopefully If you don't know what Omni SEO is and the impact of it, hopefully by the end of this, you have a clear understanding. So what is changing in SEO? So this is the way that typically, we used to see things on the left-hand side with Google search, Bing search, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. But as you can see over on the right, how it's changing and how people are going to different places to look for things and not just looking for options. They're actually looking on how to do things, how to get it done, who they want it to get done by. So it's continually evolving and always changing. Now we get into the good stuff. So as we know, back in 2005, Google was just, a list of blue links. You had to click around to find anything. Now, 2025, Google and AI engines give instant answers. You're not searching for options, you're searching for the answers. Or a product to pick and videos right on the search pages. So you're getting everything right at the top of the page. So you need to make sure you're optimizing your content on your website for these new search results and make sure your business is everywhere. It's not just about ChatGPT. It's about Perplexity, Copilot, all these different answer engines, and even AI overview. And AI isn't the latest change. It's reaching the audience. Okay. And all these headlines you're going to see are AI isn't just a buzzword anymore. It's fundamentally changing how our customers find us online. These search engines now use AI to deliver smarter answers, often right on the results page. That means traditional SEO tactics aren't enough anymore. But even more relevant than ever is having strong SEO in a whole. Contractors who want to stay visible need to optimize for AI-driven results and focus on answering real questions that homeowners are asking. So what I mean by that is making sure that, think about if you were to go and make a purchase of something and you're looking for a new truck and you have certain things that you want to meet. You might go into ChatGPT and say, hey, who's got the best truck with this, this, and this, and this? Your homeowners are doing the same thing. So however they might be looking, you need to make sure that you have those type of answers on your website to those type of questions. As you can see, lots of different changes. And then why should we care about AI search engines and their impact on reaching our audience? There are over 700 million daily searches on AI engines, and that number is expected to double to 1.4, but it's taken up real estate. The key thing that we always used to talk about with SEO and all that is owning real estate. Well, these answer engines are taking up 67% on desktop and 75% on mobile. Just imagine what that impact could be if you're not there. And I always talk about, trying to get on a train when it's going 5 to 10 miles an hour, or waiting until that train's 120 miles an hour to get on it. It's going to be difficult. So understanding the impact that answer engines are having and how you can be better sourced on there, which we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And how do we reach our audience? Okay, so this is an important slide that I really want to hit on. So what you're seeing is the AI overview are layered. The strategic process maps out the 5 distinctive layers that make up the AI overview. So it's got AI questions, AI sources, AI seed content. And if you don't know what that is, that's about content published on your page, or even other sites. And that's what's very important is you doing a blog post or writing some content that other pages want to publish your stuff on. Very important. So for each layer, there's specific actions you can take. Research and target the conversational questions your audience is asking. Build authority so your content is selected as an AI source. And develop deep, high-value seed content that AI models can pull from. That's going to be a key one for a lot of contractors. And ensure your answers are clear, they're direct, and they're trustworthy. And then optimize for AI placement, which is the new top spot, the new number one. So you got to make sure of those.
Can we pause for just a second? Let's go back to the last one. So let's give a couple of specific examples of each of these. So if I'm a homeowner, my Google search mind frame, call it 2015 to 2020, maybe even over the last 3 years, potentially. Really, my Google search is going to say roofing company Ramsey, Minnesota. And then I'm going to get a list of options for me to choose from. And so now switching to the mind frame of a roofing contractor that wants to stand out in front of their competition is to look better than the other options. However, we're looking at a very different kind of a search. So walk through some of those things that you just said. Like, what does that look like when the seed placement and some of these things that I'm trying to I'm trying to make connections here with each of these steps. So homeowners, what are they actually asking today? So if they're going to ChatGPT or Perplexity or one of these, and they're going to say, not roofing company Ramsey, they're going to say what?
They might, depending on the person, but let's just, how I would look for one is, hey, how do I know I need my roof replaced? We just had a storm come through, and I'm looking for a trusted roofer in the community that has relevant reviews from people that have gotten work done from them. Okay. So how that is maybe writing a blog for your website and publishing it, talking about how do I know I need my roof replaced? How do I know that they're trusted? Having those things in the content that you're putting on your website is going to give you a higher opportunity of showing up in that answer engine. Does that help answer your question?
It helps a ton. And because what ends up happening is if you don't have that content, you don't show up. And remember, the homeowner isn't seeing page one of Google anymore, where they can, you're trying to get to page one, right? So that you can be in that top 20. Now, the way those questions are structured, you need to have enough content to even make the conversation. Otherwise, you are invisible. Is that really the risk here?
Yes. And, we all used to hear the term SEO is dead. SEO is now reborn. Okay. So with these answer engines, a lot of them pull from your Google Maps, your core SEO, because they're looking at your reviews. They're looking at how local are you to maybe that question that, hey, I'm looking for a roofer in Marco Island, Florida, or Dallas, Texas. So if you're not showing up locally and ranking in those areas, you have a less of a chance to show up in those areas. Also, if you're not having proper geo pages, on your website with robust content, answering questions that maybe people ask in, because I'm in Florida, people might ask for things differently here in Melbourne than they do over on the other coast. So if I'm going to have a geo page on Melbourne, Florida, I need to make sure that content is answering questions the way that people ask them in Melbourne. And that's how you're going to be more impactful in the answer engines, but it's also going to help you with your regular core SEO as well.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for pausing on that. It was a good stop.
Yeah, and
I'm
feel
going to
free
take
to.
one.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to take 1 second just to kind of condense some of that into everybody learns their different ways, right? And everybody kind of pulls things in their own way. For me, a lot of times I like to condense things down to the brass tacks. And the way that I look at it is people are now using a tool that's just going to scrub the web for the best possible answer it can give them. It's going to scrub for data, and it's not going to read that as a human who's necessarily going to read all of the reviews and pull everything up. It's going to scrub for basic data that's available on your website. And so making sure that you have relevant data to your market. So if you don't have a page relevant to the location that person's asking about, if you service that area and you don't have a page that shows that you service that area, you might get missed. If the person's asking about roof replacement versus roof repair and you don't have roof replacement or you don't have roof repair, you might get missed for that, just based on the words that the customer is looking for, and making sure that you have data available for each of those individual requests that a person might have. That's the way that I look at it, is just like we're looking at a database resource rather than a human who's actually digging through and looking for the specific information.
No, and that's perfectly said. And the way that people used to look at websites, it was just like my digital storefront. Then it went to my, to just having some content. Now it's become your digital salesperson. So if you have a bunch of markets that you service, you need to make sure that you have a robust, detailed geo page and service areas pages on your website speaking to all this if you want to be relevant. So major kudos for pointing that out and kind of keeping it simple. All right, we ready to move on?
Oh yeah, yes, please.
All right, so there's two paths to getting into AI sources. How do we get both of these content options? First and foremost is first party data. This is the content that you own. This is the stuff that you're holding in that CRM that you use maybe to send some email blasts or whatever that is, but truly utilizing that first party data is more important now than it ever was before. And making sure that your marketing is connected with that CRM that you're utilizing, so it's utilizing that first party data. The AI algorithms designed to ask what users want. Okay, technical sound website, as we mentioned, making sure page speed, easy navigation, optimize internal linking. That's making sure that if somebody's on a roof replacement page on your website, that if they want to look at something relevant to repair, that they can click right from within that content and go to the repair page. And making sure that it's mobile optimized. Okay, a lot of people don't know how to check these things, and your marketing company should be able to check a lot of these for you. But there's also a lot of tools out there that you can use to find out if all this is set up properly. And a high authority website, that's making sure it's kind of like your credit score is the best way to speak to that. You get better financing, lower interest rates if you have a good credit score. If you have a good authority score, quality score, and all that, you're going to get better placement from Google, but you're also going to get better cost per click on some of your leads as well. Okay, so making sure that's very important. Clear and obvious trust website, the EAT factor, making sure that your website demonstrates experience, expertise, authority, and trustworthiness. Answering and making sure these things are talked about on your website and any content that you write, when you're kind of setting it up to answer some of these AI questions, these are the things that you want to make sure you're utilizing as well. Third-party content, this is truly, if you can get this part implemented, it's the number one thing for AI engines, okay? This is where you're writing that blog post and let's say a home magazine or a magazine that's relevant to your area wants to take that blog post and put it on their website. That is what third-party stuff is relevant for. And that right there shows Google and other answer engines your authority, and they're going to pull things from that over what anybody else is doing. Any questions around that, with you guys?
What would you say, Corey, about kind of leveraging those established networks, like you mentioned, is like if you work with a public adjuster in your area who maybe has a website already, getting them to post a blog post about like, hey, how to detect damage or anything along that. What do you think about that as a way to get that third party credential on there?
That is one that is utilized quite a bit. But if you are working with a community or a school or anything like that, like let's say a storm hit and you write a blog post about how to know if your roof needs to be replaced, about the community, but they want to take that content and put it on a community board or the community website or the school website, those there are a lot more powerful. When you can not have to buy backlinks and stuff like that, it's the same thing. When you have somebody that wants to take your website and utilize that on theirs, same thing with your content, it's going to make you more of an authority to the Google AIs and the answer engines.
Gotcha. Cool.
All right. This is where I was speaking as far as third-party content is a preference for all AI engines. As it states here, Earned third-party content makes up 74% of all AI citations. That's where they're pulling from, whether it's a Better Business Bureau, and somebody, you posted something on there or Yelp or whatever, they're pulling from those more than they're going to pull from your website. Okay. So really making sure that you're impactful on these third parties. And this is something that, if anybody's interested, we can go more into. I'm open to helping with that as well.
Before we move on again, let's
Yeah.
pause for just a second.
Yes,
because
sir.
I want to go back to this again, and because again, I'm a little bit unclear. So let's give an example again in the real world for a roofing company. If you want to succeed at being recognized through these third-party content, what does that actually look like?
So
Does that mean a guest on somebody's podcast? Like what does that actually look like?
So it's other websites out there that want to utilize your content and put your content on their websites, or put your information on their directory and filling those out. It's not your own data that you own. It's content that is so relevant to what they want put out there that they see the value, that they want to take that and put it on with their content. Does that simplify it?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of what are some of those third parties. So if I'm a roofing company and you're helping me strategically build this piece out in my AEO strategy, where am I going to create this stuff, and where do I want that to be attracted to so it's seen?
Yeah, so I'll keep it like, the Roofing Contractor magazine, okay? That, let's say they want to take your information, that blog and that content that you wrote, and put it on their website and in their magazine. That's like third-party data.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Great questions, Mike. And keep in mind, for everyone watching, we also have the Q&A section available as well. So if any questions come up throughout the presentation, please drop them in there.
Yeah. And, kind of a, conclusion to all of this, that you need to make sure that, whoever you're working with, whether you're doing this in-house, a marketing company or whatever, is that you're tracking, what these answer engines are doing. And there's different types of companies that can do reporting, but you want to see what your competition is doing on these answer engines. What questions are they asking? Are you, do you have those? So really making sure that you're tracking. And, here we do it more of a omni approach, because there isn't just one answer engine. ChatGPT has almost become what people say when they're Googling it. They may Google, but they were on Bing. They may ChatGPT it, but they were on Perplexity and Copilot. So really making sure that you're looking at all those platforms and making sure that you're answering questions that are being asked on those. And you can actually even go into all of those answer engines and even ask it, hey, what kind of questions are being asked by homeowners looking for a roof repair, roof replacement? And you're going to see those questions. Well, make sure that you're having those type of answers on your website. And the same thing with all of them, because every single one pulls from different things and are getting different questions asked. And that kind of concludes the what is SEO and around AI engines. If anybody's got any questions, you can just scan the QR code. But we're going to open this up so that everybody can ask their questions, and let's go.
So while people are thinking about their questions, they're coming in. I do have one other question. So are we kind of in this Blu-ray versus HD DVD moment where we're looking at all of these current AI platforms fighting for what's going to become? Because again, when we think about doing a Google search, they own it, right? I mean, who else? I mean, there are people that use Bing or different search, but it's Googling, or you're Googling stuff. And right now it feels like ChatGPT is in the winner. But do you see one prevailing to where we just all do this? Or are there uniqueness to each of these that they will all coexist generally?
Yeah, and there is definitely a difference to all of them. I mean, I actually use Perplexity because it gives better resources. It even will show what they look like in the mapping section, show their location, and I can actually click from there and go straight to their mapping section on Google. And then you have ChatGPT that doesn't give as much of the resources, but is more of answering questions. And then you have Copilot. It's pulling a lot from Bing. So it's based off of preference. Which one makes you feel comfortable, makes you feel that you can trust what it's given you? And that's kind of how I've picked mine. I'll take one question and put it in like 4 different ones to see what kind of answer it gives me.
Because I got my money on the one that turns you into a Sasquatch, and you can just AI generated make videos as that. So I think that one's probably the one that's going to win.
Yeah, and I saw that John from Fortified, are there any other sources for finding the top questions in our industry that we should be optimizing for? I would just say typically going to those engines and asking it. Also going to Google as well, because with the AI overview, that's a lot of people are stopping there before they go any further. We've been trained to look at reels, short videos, because people want instant gratification. They want that answer quickly. So making sure that you're looking at what people are asking, and just think about even asking your clients, your homeowners, how are you searching for a roofer? But doing things like that's going to help the most, John. But also your marketing company can be doing research on what they're seeing based off of how they're tracking it.
Something I always like to include in these episodes, especially when we're bringing in a topic like this, it's kind of a new topic for us to discuss, and maybe slightly new for the industry, is if somebody is either on a budget or on a budget of resources as far as manpower, time, and stuff like that. I always like to check is like, if we've got somebody who is a one-man operation or a two-man operation, what are the most basic non-negotiable things that someone should be doing to start incorporating this? Because some people have a marketing person on staff. Some
Yep.
people have a marketing team that they've hired out to, and some people just have a little bit more resources and a little bit more flex. But for those people who are on a like subsistence living status of, hey, they started their company 6 months ago and it's going well, but there's not a lot of time, there's not a lot of resources. What are the non-negotiables they should be doing to make sure that they're getting everything they can out of AEO?
Great question. First, their Google business profile, making sure that all their services, everything is filled out, robust, getting reviews, not just getting reviews and just saying thank you for them. When you're responding, is making sure that you're using keyword stuff in there. Like, hey, thanks, Justice, for leaving us a review as we strive to be the best roof repair company in McKinney, Texas. Okay. Well, making sure you're mentioning their name, the work, and where they did it, because that's showing Google that it's just not a bot that's saying thank you for leaving us a review. So doing those things, making sure on the website that you have Q&As, and those Q&As actually going and looking at what type of questions people are asking. How do I know I need my roof replaced? How do I know they're a trusted roofer? What is the best, roofing shingle to use? Blah, blah, all these things, making sure you're having those things on a website is non-negotiable. Okay. That's first and foremost. And I mean, anybody that builds a website can do that, and making sure that every major or city or county that you work in, if it's relevant to where you want to be doing work, have a geo page for that, and making sure that every service that you offer, roof repair, roof replacement, roof insulation, storm damage, inspection, different types of metal, making sure you have a robust website is more important now than ever. Those would be my key things to start with.
Awesome. I love that because it is. I mean, we have people all over the country. We have people all over different ranges of size of companies. We have a customer who is like a contract employee sales rep who bought our technology for himself so that as a sales rep, he can economize his time. So we have people all over who run the entire gamut of the industry. So I always like to make sure that we cover our bases of like, hey, this is great material for somebody who's got an entire marketing team on staff. What about the other guys?
And
That's one piece. And then You go ahead. I've got one other question kind
Yeah,
of on that
so
same vein.
and this is not a Roofle plug, but I think it's something that needs to be mentioned because of what Roofle does. So think of this as being a homeowner that doesn't want to deal with a salesperson, doesn't want to be dealing with this. Do you think that somebody might be going into ChatGPT, AI overview, and say, hey, can you find me a roofing company that I can just go to their website and get a price without being harassed or hassled? Okay, so making sure that you have these type of tools on your website is going to be beneficial. If it's not today, it's going to be eventually because people are there. I don't like going to a mall. I'm going to go online and buy something because I don't want to deal with going in there and somebody trying to sell me. So think about that when you're building out your website and your strategy. It might not be to where you see the 100% value, whether it's in doing Omni SEO or whatever, but it's a lot easier, like I said, to jump on the train when it's going 5, 10 miles an hour than when it's going 150. So all these things that we're talking about are going to be impactful, and this is the time to start building the traction.
So I've got another question for you, and it's really intriguing to me because whenever I'm thinking about content creation and everything that you've been saying, I always think in terms of what content are we writing, building that's in written form. However, we also are seeing more and more and more homeowners responding to video. So how does video enter into all of this AI generated content and start being disseminated as, differentiating strategies when it comes to AI?
It's just as important as it's ever been. Content's king, videos, the queen, or however you want to put it. But the important thing is, it's just not just posting a video up on your website. Is making sure that the company that's managing your website, your SEO, and all that is coding it as well. Okay, because you need to make sure that it's being found by the answer engines and all of that. So really making sure that, just like on your Google Business Profile, if you have a picture and you have where it's located and all of that and it's tagged, it's going to be more relevant to Google than if you just put a picture there. Same thing with your video content as well.
That's a great point, and like working with your web developer or whoever's managing your website to see if you can get insight into that to make sure that you have those tags in place and make sure that you're doing everything that you can do to manage that. And a lot of it is just arming yourself to know the questions to ask, because a lot of times somebody might say it's like, oh well, my marketing isn't giving me the results that I'm looking for. And it's like, well, did you give them really, really clear directives about what to do and what exactly you're looking for? Did you know how to give them the clear directives? Just like AI, it's not giving answers. It sounds kind of dumb. I don't think it's fully developed. Did you prompt it correctly?
Yeah.
But we have a good question from Todd here. So, assuming that our content on our site is tailored for AEO and SEO with authority and with the checklist, does that bump our third party AI ranking? I guess I'm still confused if AI gets answers from our site, or how do we position ourselves in third parties? Do they play together? And then there's a caveat question. Also, is there a waiting period for the crawlers?
So the thing is, when you're posting the content and all, that's going to be more of first party more than anything. So it is going to be beneficial. They're still going to pull from that third party and getting all that. That's going to be more about, and that's where a relationship with your marketing company and the relationships they have, where they might have a partnership with other, websites, other companies that they can get that come to them for content. That's going to be the key thing, is having those conversations with your current marketing company. Or if you're doing stuff in the community, with a school or any of those in the area, are going to be very important to get them to want to post your stuff. And what the
Okay.
other question was about the crawlers. That's all on your website. That's going to be all first party when it comes to crawlers. And they crawl it every so often. But the more that they can sense that you're making changes and updating, that's why, just like your Google Business Profile is it's a heartbeat. The same thing with your website. It's a heartbeat. You need to make sure that you're constantly updating content. And that's where, with your marketing company, if they're looking at what your competitors are doing, is making sure that you're staying ahead of them with the type of content that they're writing or the amount of words and stuff like that. It's becoming so much more about the relevant, but also is it outdoing the competition? That's what we're all doing this for, is to outdo our competition.
Awesome. And Todd, if you feel like you want more clarification on that, obviously you can book time directly with Corey. Also, feel free to add more questions to it, and kind of give us a little bit more meat to work with. And we're happy to kind of continue discussing if you want to narrow this question or kind of adjust it. And I
I did have one thing that I want to make sure that, and this is something that every single person on here can do, and it's very simple. I talk about it a lot on my Facebook page. Is go in your computer, clear your cache, clear your browser history. Then I want you to go in and type in a roofing company near me. Don't do it at your work because it's going to show, of course, your work because of proximity. But maybe when you're out, and find me a roofing company near me. Then what I want you to do is go into ChatGPT, Perplexity, or whatever that answer is, answer engine, and I want you to do a search as if you were a homeowner. Hey, find me a trustworthy roofing company. I need my roof possibly repaired, replaced. I'm not sure, but I want to make sure they're local, blah, 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 all that. And look and see who's showing up. Then go back to that mapping section and see who's showing up there. You're going to see a major thing there, and that's people that are typically showing up very well in the map pack, and like in that top 5, are going to probably be the ones that are ranking the best in the AI engines. So that's something that you can do and kind of check on your own, or just to see how you're currently ranking in the map pack.
I like that. I like that kind of the ability to self-check on the efforts that we're putting into our different avenues of advertising. I had one for you about Q&A and about blog posts on your website.
Mhm.
Those are even from straight up old school SEO days to now, those have maintained their significance and their importance, right? It's important to have that material on your site so you can be found by SEO and AEO and all that good stuff. Now, that can be time consuming, right? To put that material together. Now, what a lot of people have done in the past is use AI to generate that content. Have you noticed any difference in the relevance of AI generated content on a site versus human generated content on a site when it comes to AEO?
Yes, and if they're just using an AI engine to write it and then posting it, yes, they do still need to have somebody go through and personalize it, making it more relevant to their business before they go and put it on their site. But one other key thing, and I'm glad you mentioned the blog posts, is a lot of companies have blog posts, but they're not updating them. Like I just
Mm,
had recently spoke to a roofing company that their search volume dropped by over 75%, but they had blog posts on their website from 2022 and 2023. Okay.
mhm.
And then they didn't do anything but maybe 5 in 2024 and nothing in 2025. So that's telling Google that you're not really relevant. Go in there and change the dates. Switch up some verbiage, but keep your blogs up to date, because that's going to be very important for all of these answer engines, but it's also going to be powerful for your core SEO as well.
And does that work for like again for just like the timeline and like the time consuming nature of maintaining your website? If they just go in, update some of the verbiage, adjust the answer a little bit, maybe shorten it, lengthen it, and adjust the time for the post, is that enough for Google to say, "Oh, this has recently been adjusted. This is new. This is fresh material"?
Especially you got to change the date, because
Okay.
everyone, when you first put it on there, it's got whatever that date was. Change that, change some of the verbiage. It's not going to know that it's from 2022 if you do those things, because it's scanning that date that it's in there.
Awesome. Because I mean, there's only so many questions you can ask, right? There's
Yeah,
only so much information you can put on your website, but just making sure that it is updated and all that sort of stuff. And okay, so basically just rinse and repeat on
yeah.
those so that they are showing up to answer engines and SEO.
Especially
Uh,
you could change
okay.
it to where maybe there's a certain market that you're looking to be more impactful in, make that when you're changing some stuff in that blog post, make it relevant to that market and then update the date and you're good to go.
Okay. Very cool. So I think the Q&A has mostly died down. Personally, Corey, I think that this is such a new topic that if we came back to this in 3 months or 4 months or 6 months and we did a similar episode again, I bet our Q&A would be active the entire time, just because frankly this is a relatively new thing. Even the acronym AEO rather than SEO is pretty new. That when we first had a discussion about this episode, I'm pretty sure everybody but you on this call had to learn what that meant. I think that it's a super important thing, and I think that as it catches and as more people put significance to it, obviously everyone's going to say, oh crap, I need to make sure I don't fall behind, as you're saying.
Yeah.
So
And to that real quick, even if you're not 100% sure, if you want to schedule some time, it's just an educational time. I'm not going to be trying to sell you. I truly want to help educate. So if you have further questions, you can do that. We can answer those and you can jump and share it with your current marketing company. I'm not, I just want to be able to give the information to help. So don't be afraid to sign up to have a meeting and let's talk about it.
awesome.
So I just posted in the link to a YouTube video that is that advertisement from Google that showed up prior to the movie. I really want every business owner in here to watch the way that Google is now having to advertise their services. If they can see this disruption coming, you should be able to see this disruption coming, and we'll be feeling it in your lead generation as well. I have one question that is really the question I've been waiting this entire webinar to ask. And I made this hat, make ChatGPT dumb again. This is my mission in life. Corey, will I be successful in this mission? Can I possibly put so much dumb content on the interweb that ChatGPT suddenly forgets things it used to know?
No. It just be dumb when it answers your questions.
Yeah, it's just going to be one sad documentary, one moron's mission to break the internet.
Exactly.
Yep. Well, Corey, man, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for sharing all of this so readily and making yourself available, both right now in this minute, and then just to kind of answer people's questions over time with your link here. Any viewers really do jump on. Corey is a wealth of knowledge. Don't hesitate to reach out to him and get some of this information, and kind of see what it means for you and your business. Mike, thank you as always for jumping in and kind of stopping us when we need to slow things down and make sure that we're not skipping over anything or missing any details. Colleen, thank you for jumping in and starting to join in on this. I promise I'll stop talking over everybody at some point here in the future when I learn how to let go of control here. Everyone, we've got more episodes coming up through the rest of this summer. One that Mike is particularly excited about with Marcus Sheridan to come on and talk about endless customers. So we'll be very excited for that one. You'll get notifications on that coming here pretty shortly. But once again, Corey, thank you so much. Everybody, I really appreciate your time. We will be back within the next couple of weeks. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody again.
Absolutely. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you, Corey.
Take care, everybody.